Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone in the group. We'll wait a few minutes for people to come on live. This is Dr. Shelley Nash coming on in Over 40 Fearless and Free group. We're talking about change your story to change your life. So I'm Dr. Shelley Nash. I'm an elite level mindset coach, and I help high achieving women to unlock their genius, 10x their income, and claim the success that they want and deserve. So if that is you, then you are in the right place. I'm so happy to be here. I know it takes a while for you to find me in the feed. Thanks, and say hi when you're coming on. So I know you're here, so I know who's here. Make sure to click on the StreamYard button so that I can see your name when you make a comment. And just definitely let me know that you're here, that you're watching. So change your story, change your life. What is your story? Hello, Allison. Good to see you. I just gave my introduction, so watch the replay for that. I've been thinking a lot about my story recently. And then I realized that, the more we think about our past story, the more we think about the past or what's happening today, the more we recreate that. And so even though our stories are important, especially if we have a business like I do that's kind of about changing your story, it's important to know it, but not be so attached to it. So I've been thinking about my story as it relates to my food story, my body image story, my eating story, as I've been promoting a new program that I developed, a retreat called Think and Weigh Less Retreat. And that's all really about, not about diets, not about food. It's really about the habits and the patterns that we get into around food, around eating, around our body image, around perhaps self-criticism, and the source of the results of the constant dieting and yo-yo dieting, ups and downs, the patterns that we get into around food and diet and weight. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. And as you come on, please let me know you're here and say hi and where you're from. So my story really started off with this discomfort around my body from a very early age, almost like 5 years old. I was a big girl, they always called it, in the photos in school, I was in the back with the tall guys. And so I was different than the little girls. And I was actually labeled chubby. And they bought chubby size clothing for me. So there was always this feeling of like I didn't fit in, like there was something wrong or different with me. And so I was also encouraged to go on a diet by the band director from junior high to high school in order to be a high school majorette. He was like, appearance is important, go on a diet. So because I didn't really know how to do that at that age, I just quit eating. So I became anorexic, and I did lose the weight that I needed to lose in order to become the head majorette for 2 years in high school. And then they told me that I should just gain 5 to 10 pounds and I would be fine. Well, how do you do that? How do you gain 5 to 10 pounds and just be fine? So for about 10 years, then I dealt with that. And I dealt with that in many ways that weren't so good. Forms of bulimia that I didn't even know were forms of bulimia at the time. Just things like using laxatives, or I would not eat at all. And then on the weekends, I would just go out drinking, and I would throw up from drinking because I had only eaten when I was drinking. So I would eat very little during the week, very little during the days. And so I had many forms of bulimia, many forms of overeating that I was doing as well. And then it eventually ended up being that I had an emotional event happen where I split up with my fiance at the time, and I gained 50 pounds really quickly after that event. And from then on, I was up and down 50 pounds more times than I can remember or count at this point, because I was then always on a diet. I was doing fasts, I was doing shakes, you name it, I've done it. So I've been around the block with eating disorders, food issues, body image issues. If you want to know anything about it, I can speak to it. So we also have a culture that promotes this feeling not okay, that there's something not okay about us just the way we are. And we're taught to compare ourselves to other people, to be perfect, and also to be very self-critical. So this is a lot of my story. This is a lot of the past story. And really, I don't like dredging it all up. I like keeping it kind of in a box, keeping it secret, keeping it to the past. But I realized that when I started doing mindset training and working with people around their mindset, that it's really important to be able to realize that when you know these proper tools around your thinking process, that it is actually in the thinking process that's the source of all those habits, behaviors that I got into as, at a very early age. And we'll talk more about that. But then I realized after I was thinking about my story around food and body image, that we all have stories around all different topics in our life, all different areas around ourselves. And it applies to any area of your life, not just food, eating, and body image. So what are the stories that you keep telling yourself? And does it include the results of the past? Does it include things that aren't really true, but yet you keep telling yourself the same story because you heard it growing up? You heard it from the culture that you grew up in. You heard it from someone else growing up. And then you just lived out that story yourself, whether it's not even true for you right now. Does it include what other people think about you? And in order to move ahead to a new goal, to what you want, to become fearless and free, as we talk about in this group, it's really important to let go of these old stories. And I'll tell you more about why that's so important in a second. But those old stories are not serving you. You deserve so much more than continuing to live from your old self, your old story. In fact, you deserve to get exactly what you want. And that's what we're going to talk about. So whether you've got a food story, a weight story, a self-confidence story, self-image story, you can change it and have the body and the life that you want. And so what if you could really change your story? And it could be that powerful that you could start to love yourself and love your body just exactly how it is right now, without even changing its physical appearance. Wouldn't that be incredible? So your thinking, I'm a mindset coach, elite level mindset coach, and it's all about going to the source. Going to the source, we talk a lot about mindset. Well, what is mindset? It's setting your mind in a certain way to get a certain result. And so it all starts with your thinking process. And you know what? We're really not taught anything about what is it to think. How do we think? How do we think to get what we want? There's these phrases called of think and create. Think to create. As what you think about comes about. Think into your results. All of these phrases you've heard, and they're true, and you believe them at some level, but you don't really know how to do it. And that's what I'm here to explain to you, because I didn't know what it actually meant and how to do it. And it was such a big aha for me when I started learning that, oh, that is not just a phrase that sounds good. It actually is true, and I can learn how to do it. And it's not just by osmosis that you learn how to do it. It actually is something that you have to understand and learn and then apply. So your thinking influences everything, no matter how much you try to change your behaviors and your habits. You have to change the source. which is the thinking process, what you tell yourself, your habits, your beliefs, your self-image, in order to get the permanent results that you want. So, for example, changing your behavior around food and eating, getting on the right kind of diet doesn't necessarily change your results permanently. It will change temporarily. But once you go back to the old thinking process, how you used to talk to yourself, the self-criticism, how you saw yourself as, and the type of body you saw yourself in, then your results will slip back to what the results were you had before. So here's the learning process in this. We are all programmed. You're programmed. I'm programmed. It's part of the human being nature of things. We don't get out of this programming conditioning. It happens in our early life. We come in, we're an open book. We're like a sponge. We take everything on. We take in everything from our genetics, from our environment, from our family, from our teachers, from our friends. We take it all on, and we take it all on as true. And we believe it because they believe it. And so by the time we are 18 years old, we are pretty much 96 to 98% programmed to act, walk, talk, and believe in a certain way. And we will continue to act, walk, and talk in that certain way for the rest of our life, unless we take conscious control and decide that we want something different, and decide it's time to decide what I believe and what I want, and to reprogram myself for the results I do want. So that's just a huge aspect. So this programming, this conditioning, you could think of yourself as like a computer. So how many times do you update your computer? Mine usually asks me for an update about once a week. My phone is always asking me to update my phone. And when you update it, you get the latest, greatest, and best things. It keeps it constantly running at a high level. When's the last time you updated your thinking, updated your beliefs, updated your self-image to be at the self-image of where you want to go, where your goal is, rather than your current self-image? So that's one thing, that we're all programmed. Unless we choose to change our programming, we're going to do the same thing over and over again for the rest of our lives. And frankly, 98% of people do things that way. What you focus on, you create. So if you keep focusing on the results that you have today, you will keep creating the results you have today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. And that just becomes a vicious cycle. I have two cats right here fighting. They're fighting for location to be next to me, and the bigger one won. So what you focus on, you create. So if you keep focusing on the results of today, you will create those results over and over again. Your current results are based on your previous thinking, on your previous beliefs, on your previous habits. So the results you have today are a result of the past. So in order to get a new result that's more in alignment with where you want to go, you must cut yourself off from the current result. And this is really tricky. It's so important. You want to just slice yourself out of today, in a way, current results of today. And even though you're living in today, you're focused on where you're going. You're focused on who you're becoming in order to be where you're going. Unless you cut yourself off from these current results, you're going to keep getting the same thing over and over. We call this insanity. Same thing over and over, expecting a new result, but just getting the same thing. So you must cut yourself off from the old habits, the old beliefs, the old self-image, and create new habits, new beliefs, new self-image of where you are going, of what you want. And step into her, step into that woman of your goal, of your dream, and become her today. So you can begin that journey today by changing your story and accepting the one that you want, the story that you want. I was thinking about another live I did earlier today and it was about fear of commitment. And basically it started with no action, no commitment. So commitment to what you want starts with a desire. And if you don't have a desire strong enough to go for what you want, then you won't do it. That old programming, that old story, those old beliefs, those old habits will take over. So you have to start with a really strong desire. That strong desire will lead you to make a commitment. And a commitment in and of itself is not going to get you there. So you need to add to the commitment action. And until you take action on your commitment, nothing's going to happen. And then when you do take the action and the committed action, then with that burning desire backing it, you have to take a leap into the unknown, a leap into the future, a leap without knowing how it's going to turn out. Burn the bridges behind you. No choice of going backwards. That's how you get to what you want. So important to get through this old stuff that's holding us back, to not keep dredging up the story of the past, in conversation with other people, in conversation with family. Maybe you've noticed that family in and of itself tends to see you as your old self, especially if you don't see your family on a regular basis. But even if you see your family on a regular basis and they see you changing and growing, they tend to think of you as your old self. So it can actually be more challenging with family because they see you through these filtered eyes of who you were when you were growing up with them. And it can be even more challenging to break out of the old self around family, even more challenging. So in that instance, I really tell people to get in an environment that is conducive to your growth, that is conducive to where you want to go. The people that you surround yourself, be very guarded about that. You want to be around people that are going somewhere, going for their goals, growing in their life. If you want to do the same, if you're not doing that, if you're not surrounding yourself with those people that are going and growing, then I invite you to do that. So I know I have a lot to talk about on this subject, but as long as I'm inviting you into that, I know I have someone here that can post the link to my Facebook group, Living Powerfully Community. I also just learned how to do this, which is really fun. So I can put up the banner, the Living Powerfully Community, and you can go there to be in a group of like-minded women, just like this group in a way, but a little smaller. And I go in there and I talk every Tuesday, like I did today, about a topic on mindset. Today's topic was fear of commitment. So if you want to join me in Living Powerfully Community, I would love to have you there if this is resonating with you. So in the beginning of this talk, I talked to you about my weight loss journey, and I wanted to share with you this new retreat that I have set up for this Saturday, actually. So this is a labor of love. The idea for it came to me about a year ago, and then it changed forms along the route. And a couple of weeks ago, it became the Think and Weigh Less retreat. And it really is a place for you to come into a virtual situation on a Zoom call from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and really dive in, do some work around this. What are your beliefs around your body, and are they true? What are your beliefs around food, and what's possible for you, and is it true, and can you shift those? So that virtual retreat is coming up this Saturday, May 15th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in a specific Zoom group. The cost of it is only $97. And this morning I decided for you and you alone, I have a special code. So you can go to the link for that, which is here, thinkandwaylessretreat.com. And when you go in there to purchase, there's a coupon code. And this morning I made a special coupon code for you, and it's Fearless50, and it will give you 50% off of the $97. Now you can also, if you want to bring in a buddy into the retreat with you, which I highly recommend because it holds you accountable to what you say you want and what you're going to do following the retreat. So if you want to get a buddy code, you can also DM me for the buddy code, and you can each get 50% off your price for the retreat. Let me tell you about the retreat though. So imagine knowing that you could be in control of yourself and your body and really transform this lifelong relationship that you've had with food, body image, your weight, and really think about it. If you have been on this dieting cycle and with no lasting success, and you're really sick and tired of it, and you don't really know what to do, there is another option, guys. There is another option, because changing your behavior, that's why it's not working for you anymore. Because when you change your behavior, you're not getting to the source. You're not getting to the root cause. You know, in the summer how we get the dandelions growing in our yards, and we know that we need to get them out at the root or they'll grow back. And the same is true for anything we're trying to change about ourselves, any behavior we're trying to change. We have to get to the root, which is our thought process that created the problem to begin with. Our thought process that is maybe self-critical, maybe it's not, maybe you don't talk to yourself very well. I know I didn't. I would never talk to anyone else how I used to talk to myself about my body and about how I looked and things like that. So we need to root out that thing at the core. And try and start to repack in what is going to serve us to get permanent results in our weight loss, and maybe even if we don't lose a single ounce more, to start loving yourself exactly the way you are. And you don't have to be perfect to live a full and happy and rich life. So what if you could feel in control of yourself and your body and be able to fully express your true self? So all of this is possible without even losing 1 ounce of weight more. So those are the links I have for you. I'll just take that down for now. I'll see if there's any comments in the chat here. Thank you, Allison, for making those posts. And so we're going to be really diving in. This is a workshop program. You're going to be transformed during the 6 hours together. And then after the workshop, you'll be put in a Facebook group where we have like-minded people. Remember, being in that group of people that's conducive to your growth, and I'll come into that group and do regular trainings around Think and Weigh Less. You will also get a free follow-up session with me after the workshop to just talk about what is your individual situation and where do you go and what did you learn. So I really hope you take advantage of this retreat this weekend. If you're not able to make it this weekend, there is no replay. There is no getting it somewhere else unless you come to the next one, which will be in July. And I can let you know the date of that as we move along. So any questions about how to change your story, how to change your life, let me know. Please post #replay when you're watching the replay of this later today. Any questions that you have, I will come in and answer your questions. Send me a DM. Feel free to come into Living Powerfully community, where I do these mindset talks once a week, and other programs about every 6 or 8 weeks. I do week-long free trainings in my Facebook group where you can learn more about mindset and really how to master yourself, master your mindset to get the riches in life that you really want and deserve. Also, you're always able to set up a call with me, book a call with me. We can talk about your goals, I have a banner for that too. I went crazy with the banners because I learned a new thing today. So you can always book a call with me today. And here's the thing, this is what I was talking about with commitment, is that are you committed to your success? Are you committed to your growth? And the one thing way you know that is if you're taking action. And if you're not taking action, then you're not committed. And I love this analogy of when's the best time to plant a tree? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And when's the next best time to plant a tree? The next best time to plant a tree is today. And think of yourself as a tree. Think of yourself as when's the time to say, I'm committed to myself. I'm committed to changing my life. I'm committed to becoming fearless, going for what I want. And that day is today. And so if you don't take action today on where you're going, then you're not committed. You're not committed. So ask yourself, why am I not committed? If you want to talk to me about that, fear of the unknown. Are you drifting? Are you waiting for other people to go first? These are all things I talked about in the fear of commitment talk today in my group. So if you want to come listen to that fear of commitment talk in my group, you can get more details on that if you're resonating with that. So if there are no other comments, questions, I can just sign off for today. I thank you so much for being here, watching the replay, and allowing me to share in this group about changing your story will really help you change your life. And you're in charge of that. No one else can do it for you. I can't do it for you, but I can certainly support you and teach you how to do it. But you are the one that has to take the reins of your life, has to take control, has to take charge. And when you do, you are going to be amazed. I usually tell my clients that you will need a telescope to look back 1 year from now at how much you've changed, how much you've grown. I see people change in days. I see people change in weeks. I'm now into a month of coaching with some of my new clients, and they are transforming night and day in just a very short period of time. So if you're sick and tired of your life the way it's been, and you're really ready and committed, there's a difference between interested and committed. Actually, I have the quote right here. So I'm going to give you the exact quote from earlier today. There's a difference between being interested and committed. This quote is by Kenneth Blanchard. And he says, when you're interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. You will do whatever it takes. You will burn the bridges. You will move heaven and earth to get what you want. And I love that story about interested and committed. If you think about this being a 5-year-old, if you know a 5-year-old, if you were a 5-year-old, if you have a 5-year-old, you know that when a 5-year-old wants a cookie, that they are committed to getting a cookie. They will go ask mom and she says no. They will ask dad and he says no. If grandma's around, they'll go ask grandma, and grandma's more likely to give it to them. But if grandma says no, that child will find a stepping stool, find a ladder, crawl up to the cookies themselves and get the cookie. I saw a YouTube video of a girl and she was scaling the front of the refrigerator to get above the refrigerator in those cupboards where her treats were being stored. I mean, she was committed. There was no. She didn't know no. She just was like, I want it. I'm getting it. I'm figuring it out. And that's how you have to be with your goal. And it has to be that burning desire inside of you. Your burning desire is the only thing strong enough to do battle with that old self, that old programming. And so you have to tap into that burning desire. What is that makes you want what you want? So with that, I'm so happy to have had a chat with you today. I look forward to your comments and your questions, and please send me a DM. Hopefully I'll see you in the Think and Weigh Less retreat or in the Living Powerfully community group. And I'm so happy that you're here, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.